All men aspire to rule the world, either publicly or not. There's a pride that comes from knowing you are in control of the situations in your world. But unfortunately, not all men attain this level of greatness. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a step. They say, this means to rule your world, you have to incorporate some daily routines into your life. Knowing the obstacles that can hinder a man from ruling his world, John C. Maxwell stated, "You will never change your life until you change what you do daily." The secret of your success is found in your daily routine. If you want to experience a positive change in your life, learn these 10 great secrets that men who rule the world have made part of their daily lives. Watch till the end. 1. They practice early rising. No day has ever started while asleep. Your day begins the moment you are awake. The men who rule the world understand the fundamental principle of early rising. The earlier you rise, the earlier you begin your day's activities, and the earlier you complete your daily goals. These men knew that their day could be fully maximized by rising early. It is the favorite habit of successful people. Early rising gives them more time for themselves. Have you ever tried waking up as early as 4 or 5 a.m.? It seems as if the day is much longer, and by 10 a.m., you have already used 5 to 6 hours of the day. It is not as if the day is longer than the usual 24 hours, but because you were awake early, those early hours seem longer than usual. This is a secret the men who rule the world have mastered, and they're able to utilize what I call the extra hours of the day. Those are the first few hours before 9 a.m. Apart from having more time in the day, getting up early helps you concentrate better. Because the brain does not wake up immediately when we wake up, we feel groggy and disoriented. Rising early from bed gives the brain enough time to wake up before dashing into the day's activities. Men who get out of bed early have better brain function throughout the day, allowing them to think and work better than those who get out of bed late. 2. They engage in conscious meditation. Everyone meditates, but not everyone has a conscious meditation. As good as meditation is, if not handled consciously, it can take one's precious time unknowingly. This is why men who rule their world meditate consciously. It helps them to focus on the moment and helps to maintain focus on the other tasks of the day. They have maximized this key to their advantage. This makes them live a stress-free life, and in turn, they're able to achieve their daily goals better than others. Self-focused thinking is a great way to improve their creativity and imagination. Carving out time to think as opposed to constantly reacting is one of the keys to time management. Time management is the effective use of one's time without wasting away any fragment of it on frivolous thoughts. It is important to note that intermittently, some thoughts come to our mind, which when given time to ruminate over, can take a very huge amount of our time. But carving out some little time to think thoroughly over these things saves us from the time we will waste thinking intermittently. 3. They keep a daily journal. Ideas don't have a fixed time for their flow. And you never know when an idea that will transform a generation will pop up. This is a mystery that the men who rule their world have unraveled. So they've made it their lifestyle to always keep a daily record of the thoughts that flow from the river of their minds. Keeping a daily journal not only allows them to safely keep the ideas flowing, but it also allows them to write down those little things that make their heads clumsy, allowing them to focus on the current task. They can always go back to those things during their mediation hour. They make sure they keep their brain clear of unnecessary and unimportant thoughts. A standard hotel room keeps a small journal book on the table because they are aware that these men can't do without writing. A daily journal also prevents them from forgetting those important meeting days, and that is why many of them get a personal assistant or secretary to be in charge of this. Forgetting things is a common thing for everyone, but they are wise by keeping those thoughts in their journal. An adage says, "The faintest pen is better than the sharpest brain." 4. They are lifelong learners every day. Learning is one of the important daily habits of men who rule their world. They believe so much in books that even Warren Buffett said he starts every morning reading the newspaper, and he spends 80% of his day reading. He said, read 500 pages like this every day. That's how knowledge works. It builds up like compound interest. All of you can do it, but I guarantee not many of you will do it. At every stage of their lives, these men give themselves over to conscious learning. They believe that education and learning are not for students alone. Indeed, to be effective in life, they knew that they must be students of life itself. They make learning their daily habit. They believe in acquiring knowledge, especially the ones that relate to their scope of interest. Much knowledge is one of the things that sets them apart in the world. They're never ignorant of anything. They, through their learning, present themselves as authorities in the world. 5. They set and prioritize their goals. Setting daily goals means defining what you want to achieve for that day. Before checking emails, the newspaper, and other things, these men set personal goals for the day. They get themselves prepared for their 24 hours. These help them to maximize every minute and make them more productive. They don't just jump into any activity or allow anyone to jump into their schedules. They consciously use their time doing something that adds up to their value. Also, they don't just set these goals. They chase them strongly after them until they've accomplished them. They believe that failure to plan is planning to fail. They achieve their set goals, and they don't leave a task unfinished before moving on to the next. They believe that to be able to evaluate themselves at the end of the day, they must have definite goals set for that day. This is the only way to measure their daily usefulness. 6. They tackle their hardest daily tasks first. After setting and prioritizing their goals, another thing they do is tackle the hardest task of the day. This is even what guides them in selecting their prioritized goals. They believe that this will help them get the most important things done earlier and make the rest of the day look easier. They spend quality time doing those hard tasks and the rest of their time doing other tasks. In truth, what we find difficult takes much more of our time and energy than what we can easily get done. The secret they've learned is that you have more energy in the early hours of the day than in the later hours when you have used up your strength. They devote more time and energy to what matters most. 7. They evaluate themselves daily. Men who rule their world use evaluation as a means to assess themselves based on their set goals. They can judge their daily actions and the results of their actions, and this brings them an awareness of their progress and their potential faults. It helps them take responsibility for their failures. Evaluation helps them to make a better plan for the following day. Evaluation helps them not just to move, but to know how fast and effectively they're moving with their daily schedules and overall goals. 8. They surround themselves with optimistic people. It is often said that you are the average of the people you surround yourself with. Men who rule their world choose the type of people they walk and work with every day. They value their lives and successes so much that they are not ready to allow just anybody to get in their way. 9. They value their health. Health is wealth. Being conscious of one's health is an important role that nobody will take on your behalf. These men knew that as much as their goals were important, their health was more important. They make time in their busy schedules for daily exercise. Daily walks aren't ruled out of their morning schedules, and that is why they wake up early enough to have time for all these. They take healthy foods and supplements. They keep their space clean, as it is said that a clean space coincides with a clean brain. 10. They get quality sleep. Sleep is not about quantity, but quality. They get themselves disengaged from all distractions from electronics and screens early enough to get quality sleep. They have a very busy schedule, which makes them value the time they have spelled out for rest. Sleep helps the brain function better. It is time to understand why highly intelligent people are loners. Click on the image and I'll see you in the next video.